have.
Yeah, that's a nice flag.
That is a great flag.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Welcome, everybody. Bros on Nuggs, episode 8. This is the keep rolling because the Nuggets have been on a roll. We all know last night was a disappointing loss, but if you can just kind of forget about that, you know what I mean? Like the last, 15 games, we are just straight balling, my friends, right? Just straight balling. We're in a really good spot. Last night, end of a road trip, I think it's what you would expect, especially against a pretty decent, what's turned out to be a decent team in San Antonio this year. Yes, it would have been nice to get the dub and, elevate ourselves from San Antonio. Now we have even records, such as life. But, dude, overall, the last 15 games or so, the Nuggets have shown that we are what we thought we were, and that is a very formidable opponent in the Western Conference. So thank you guys for joining us. And today, with full love and appreciation, we have special guest Big Worm, a.k.a. Jeremy Heiberger. I'm so happy to have you here, Jeremy. How you doing, man?
Hey, Dave. I'm doing really well. I got to say I'm honored to be on the show this afternoon. As you know, huge fan of the podcast. I think I've been watching since the first episode. And love what you guys are doing, for the sport of basketball, for the Nuggets organization. And then most importantly, putting the 80863 back on the map. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Worm has meant a lot to me in my life, but there's a few moments that just kind of shine as like the biggest things. I would not have known about Jurassic 5 if it weren't for Jeremy Heiberger. And that's the gosh darn honest truth. And thank you, because it changed my life. And I would have not eaten for free at Subway for about 6 months before he finally got fired.
Yeah, that was back in my rebellious stage. So, a lot of life lessons were learned at that point. But I'm glad that I was able to spread some of the wealth through free subs.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, and think about it, dude. Subway has more restaurants on this planet than McDonald's, so you weren't really stealing too much.
That's very true. Very true. Yeah, I was at that point in my life, I was kind of taking it to the man. So
yeah. As we all should at every point in our life. Go Reddit.
Yeah, go Reddit.
Quick check-in. Tim had surgery this week and it's probably all hyped up on Percocet. Tim, how you doing?
Percocet.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm on some Percocet. I'm good. Moving. I guess I'm moving more. I don't know. First day I didn't do a whole lot. Follow up on Tuesday. I'll get out of the brace and into a hard cast.
Ooh, hopefully you gotta stick to itch the things you can't reach, bud.
Yeah, I haven't had an issue yet. The nerve block wearing off was really interesting though, because how your feeling is when your foot's asleep. It was that just a whole lot worse, and you couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, but I'm here.
Well, Tim, I have a feeling I'll see you soon because Sophie's mom's coming into town tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, just checking. Will has decided to go full the dude for this episode. Will, how you feeling today?
Feeling good. I don't have any beer, so I made some White Russians. So I just said, hey, man, if we're going to drink White Russians, might as well go full dude.
Yeah. The dude abides, right? The dude abides.
The dude abides. I like I said, I got a nice rug. It really ties the room together. So I'm feeling good.
I learned a lot of things in my life from the movie The Big Lebowski, but the biggest thing is the term parlance of our times. I love that. I love using that term. Okay. Well, you guys rock. Thank you for joining us here on Bros on Nuggs, episode 8. Episode 8 is titled, Let's Just Keep Rolling, Baby. We're just doing good things.
Rolling.
Yeah, we will get to the Nuggets, but there was some breaking news last night, and not breaking in just like the one meaning of breaking news, but also breaking my heart And I would feel remiss if we didn't just talk about this for 1 second.
I thought we'd show this for timeout with Timmy, but let's do it. Let's get it now.
Our beloved Rockies, who are becoming less and less beloved by the year, by the way, and I feel like they're about to lose a generation of fans, honestly, with a move such as this. But they decided to trade Nolan Arenado and give the Cardinals $50 million to do so.
For nobody.
For no one.
For prospect.
Anyone want to just quickly react to the Nolan Arenado news that we're all supremely disappointed about?
Who wants to go first? All right, I'll go. I hate Jeff Burdich and Dick Monfort with such a passion. The reason why they had to give the $50 million is to offset the salary because you didn't ask for anybody.
Right.
You would think you would get maybe like Asuna or Colton Wan or somebody to try to make it even reasonable of a trade. Jeff Burdich is the worst GM in Major League Baseball, and Monfort hasn't gave a crap about how successful this team is ever. So everybody, I feel so sorry for Charlie Blackmon and Trevor Story and the people that care about being successful and want to have a good product, and they're going to leave too, because who wants to be a part of it? So it's not like we could have beat the Dodgers, and the Padres are getting better, and everybody in our division is getting better. But sad day, man. Sad day.
Yeah. And on top of that, you're hearing rumors this morning that we're actually shopping Trevor Story as well.
Yeah, he wants out.
No, he wants out.
Who wants to be a part of this? Chuck wants out too. No one wants to be a part of it. You're going to be putting the AAA team out there.
We're cheap. And that's what it is. I don't get why you sign Arenado to this big deal and then trade him 2 years later, year one after the signing. You start talking about trading him. It's terrible. It's horrendous. The Rockies have never been about winning. They've been about making money off their fans. If they build it, they will come. They put out a mediocre product. They could have very easily brought in some guys to make us formidable in the National League. But we went the complete opposite way. It's very frustrating. It's the first time in a long time where I am no longer excited for baseball to start because I'm just that pissed off. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, hence my comment. You're about to lose an entire generation of Rockies fans.
Yeah.
Worm, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you know what? It's definitely a punch to the gut. You can't be mad at Arenado for wanting to leave. To Will and Tim's point, I think that the ownership of the Rockies is they've got their priorities mixed up at this point, and they're more concerned about the fan experience. You can go catch a beer at the rooftop bar, and it's all about that, and they don't really care about building talent around an eight-time Gold Glove winning, player. So yeah, it's frustrating. You can't replace an Arenado. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So I think they've got a long road ahead of them. It'll be interesting to see how they respond after this. So,
oh man, and Worm, to your point, they have created a pretty fan-friendly environment there. Like it's a who doesn't love going to Coors Field? The problem is now what you've done with a move such as this, and we've been sort of working in this direction for a few years now, which is unfortunate. But that core group of fans who grew up watching the Rockies, the first group of fans, which we are, that's our generation, right? Like the 8, 9, 10-year-olds who didn't have a team, all of a sudden the Rockies came and that was your club, right? You didn't have to root for someone outside of the state anymore. That brand or that group of people who also might happen to be the people who've spilled the most money into your organization over the years, you are losing those people quickly, man. Just saying, you're losing them very fast. And it makes me sad because I want to take my son to a baseball game at Coors Field this next summer, but I also don't want to support nonsense So I don't know. We'll figure it out. I hope.
Take them to the Vibes.
Go Vibes. Toasty.
Just stick to our not. The Vibes aren't even going to be affiliated this year. By the way, they're not even affiliated with a club. They're just a club that invites people in. So like AA teams who have injuries will be like, go rehab with the Vibes. Okay, well, Bros on the Rocks will get to this whole situation later on if we can handle that. But this is Bros on Nuggs.
That's good.
We've got Big Worm here, and the Nuggets are rolling. And yes, the loss last night was a tough one to take because we really should have beat that team. We didn't. But again, it's the end of a 5-game road trip. Like, the end of road trips are difficult. And we were still I hate to say it, we were still playing Jokic and Murray at the very end of the game where you're like, dude, it's okay. Let's concede this, pull a Popovich and be like, this game is we're not going to win it. So let's just let it slide. You know what I mean? And I was going to talk about this later, you guys. But it's if you had to choose between winning last night and winning tomorrow night, you take winning tomorrow night, I think, against the Utah Jazz. So the end of the road trip was not the end we wanted last night, and it was a frustrating game to watch, and we'll talk about the San Antonio Spurs game. But overall, I think we're in a really good spot. I hope you guys are on the same page. So let's go back to that. Last time we got together, it was the first game of a back-to-back after that Phoenix first game, and we won in overtime. Where we're picking up now is the Phoenix game again. It was the double OT win, I believe, right, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right. So let me just say one thing. I love when we wear our whites on the road. Those white jerseys on the road are sick. They match up with any jersey in the league, but that's another story. Overall thoughts. I mean, obviously we have notes here that we can talk about. We could talk about a lot of little intricacies, but that second game, going into it, I felt it was a must win. But then again, I think every game's a must win. But I really did feel like you got to leapfrog Phoenix there. You have to take 2 or 3, as our buddy Zeke last week said. You have to take 2 or 3 so that you have the tiebreaker over Phoenix in this crowded West, which is always going to be crowded because it's the West and not the crappy East. So you had to win the game. And it's a back-to-back after an overtime, and the dudes made it happen. So your thoughts on that Phoenix game? Let's start with Worm, if you're cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt like it kind of had the vibe of a playoff game, to be honest with you. I mean, there was just so much back and forth. I love the fact that Murray hit that 3 at the end of regulation, kind of off center to put it into the first overtime. That was a clutch shot on his behalf. And, I think there was just a lot of tenacity during that game. They played super hard, and it was really great to walk away with the W in double overtime, right? I mean, it would be, if it went the other direction and they lost in double overtime, that I think that would be extremely difficult way to start that road trip, and the fact that they were able to overcome in double overtime I feel like was a really good step in giving them momentum for the rest of the road trip that they went on. So,
yeah, and that shot by Jamal is why we love Jamal and we hate Jamal. It's because you're like, where are you all game? What happened? First quarter, dude, particularly of that game, absent. Like, was not there at all. And then all of a sudden you need a dude to make a big shot. They drew up the play for him, admittedly so, after in his post-game interview. He was like, yeah, that play was for me to shoot like this crazy 3 5 feet behind the arc. Like, that's what they drew up, and he just nails it, dude. So that's the love-hate relationship I have with Jamal Murray. Never mind that my wife wants to leave me for him. Kim, thoughts on the Phoenix game there?
I thought it was a great win. Disappointed that see it go into double overtime. How the hell do you not have my man Bull in there when you have a few seconds left and you're trying to throw it to the rim to end of the first overtime? I mean, that dude's got a 7'6" wingspan or something ridiculous. Should have had him underneath the basket. It was a good hard fight. I mean, it was good to see Jamal make some big buckets in that game. Overall, great win, great road trip. I was disappointed we didn't have Bull in there, though. We needed his length. I don't know why we're throwing a lob pass to Gary Harris from out of bounds to try to win it at the end of that first overtime. I thought that was poor execution, poor call. But that's neither here nor there. They got the victory, which is the key. And unfortunately, every time we play overtime, our stars are playing more and more minutes. So we've just got to figure out how to get our big guys some time, some rest.
Yeah, man. Good point to that lob to Gary Harris. I was also thinking, as were both Marlowe and Hastings, this would be a really good situation to use the length of Bull. I mean, odds are no one's scoring there, right? The odds are not in your favor that you're going to get an out-of-bounds play at the rim with that much time left and tap it in, right? But if you want to increase your odds slightly, why don't you take Bull gadget arms and freaking throw him in the middle and just toss it up? Like that, if you just want to slightly increase your odds, do that. I'm with you on that, Tim. The dude?
Yeah, it's nice winning close games, just like we did the previous game against Phoenix. Booker wasn't playing, so I was worried about Jamal not playing. Good to see that he continues to fight through injuries, but maybe he needs a rest, and the dude will get to that later.
All right, dude.
But one in the first overtime, it was a little frustrating because Dozier's 2 defensive laps, that foul on that closeout 3, and then why you try to double team Kaminsky and leave Jay Crowder alone? I don't get that. And you could tell after that second overtime, just what was fun to see was like Jokic was pissed. Like, it was just like, I'm tired, man. We're going. And obviously, Ayton was fouled out because Jokic was smart and got Ayton in foul trouble in the overtime. And that's when we really took over, is because Kaminsky can't guard Jokic. And Jokic was like, you know what? We're going home. I'm tired. We're going to win. And so that's what made me happy about that win, was Jokic just being like, we're done. We're going to dominate the next 5 possessions and go home.
Yeah.
So I was excited to see that. I like, to Worm's point, with those back-to-backs at the same, in Phoenix twice is like very playoff-esque, and it breeds good basketball, in my opinion. I think they need to kind of do that more regardless of COVID next season. So it was cool to see a big win, way to win, and take 2 out of Phoenix after they beat us in Denver. So, and like you said, with the standings, that's important. So they got the win. We can nitpick on what didn't go right and all that, but they won. And, great way to start the road trip, winning 2 in Phoenix.
Couldn't agree with you more about the back-to-back, guys. I love it. I love it, man. 2 teams going back-to-back. It does increase the intensity slightly, because when you get basketball players at an NBA level, they all are full of pride, no doubt, right? So when you go back-to-back, there's going to be more competitive spirit. I love it. What did go right, Will and everyone else in that game, Cody Wise in the first quarter, our boy Cody, got a whole camera on him, and I think are they having a baby?
I haven't talked to Cody. I don't know. That's
I know
exciting if he is.
These are the hot takes you get on Bros on Nuggs.
I have no idea, man. I know he has a dog.
The media director may be having a baby. We're not sure, but I'm pretty sure that they had a camera on him in the first quarter. I was excited about that. Jeremy, do you remember the Wises? Of course you do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I actually remember Cody's mom. Remind me her name.
Yeah, you do.
Marla.
Yeah, she is
She's the best. Doug and Marla.
Yeah, such a sweetheart. I remember going over to their house, and she always had the best snacks. Lots of activities going on. Too, man. I remember we played like RIB baseball, RBI baseball, for hours. And just a great family, man. So glad to see he's doing well and still representing the Nuggs.
Did you guys live? You guys lived in the same hood, huh?
We were pretty close. Yeah. I lived over in Sunnywood, and I think he was kind of closer to like, I want to say around like Kenner's house, something like that. But yeah, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Shout out to the Wises, man.
Love
that family.
Yeah. All right. In the first quarter, at the end of the first quarter, MPJ comes in, which he is coming off the bench. And if you guys are fans or listen at all to the podcast, I love that. Like, him coming off the bench is what I want. I want him to like grow as like, I'm the man. I'm a scorer. I can do what I want. If he's playing with the first team all the time, that's not necessarily going to be his role. And coming off the bench, which is what he's been doing, has proved well. But there was a play in that Phoenix game shortly after he comes in where he gets a swat on one end, sprints down, and then finishes a transition three.
Right.
Yeah, dude. And I'm just like, I'm hard on MPJ. Very hard on MPJ.
We all are.
But the way he is playing, I think maybe we have actually drafted a third legitimate like star. Maybe the way he's played. What do you guys think? Dead air. That's good. Word. Go for it.
Yeah, I would say he's definitely stepped up his game. I think he's been really great from the 3-point line, really clutch from that perspective. And he's stepped up as more of a leader. Coming off the bench, a lot of responsibility. Obviously, with Dozier going out with the hamstring injury, guys like MPJ, he really got to step up, and I think he's been pretty clutch for us. So, I think still yet to see like in those really key moments, how he can really step up. And it's interesting to see how Jokic, plays with MPJ and how he moves the ball and when he cuts to the basket and stuff like that. So, but I'm really pumped on him.
Yeah, I'm pumped on him too, man. Right now, that might change like tomorrow. That could change quickly.
We flip-flop him a lot, but he's been playing lights out since coming back. It's been nice. I haven't been like, oh my God, he's shooting the basketball. I've felt more confident with it. He's done some good things. Even on defense, he's starting to make his rotations a little bit. I mean, he's still a little slow on them, but he's starting to show that he's learning how to play defense at the NBA level, which is what I've always really been hard on him about. So, if he can continue to grow and, he's starting to say the right things in post-game interviews, he's starting to be about team ball, less about himself. So hopefully he grew a bunch off of this last COVID experience he had and continues to play the way he does. And if he can keep learning the defense, the NBA defense and the rotations. And I like going to zone when he's in because he's got length and he got long arms. And we were real hard on him there for a little bit there when he was out for COVID. So it's kind of nice to have to eat our words a little bit by him playing a little bit, grown-ass basketball.
Yeah, he's the man, dude. He's playing like a man. Will, thoughts on MPJ right now?
The one thing that I really like that he provides is, not just obviously like he's an instant bucket for sure, and his offense is only going to get better. He rebounds at a high clip, and that's nice because he's been committed to getting. He knows that he could get a double-double easy. So, but like Tim said, I think like particularly in that second Phoenix game, you mentioned the block and the tray. He was just a little bit more aware and active on the defensive end, which was really good to see. You saw clips of it in Dallas also. So it's getting me a lot more excited that, and just some of the comments you're hearing him say, he's not here to just fill up a stat sheet. He's here to win, and he's going to do whatever it takes to fit in with the team and win. So he says all the right things, and I think sometimes, like again with COVID, why we're so hard on him is because he's a kid and he lacks intelligence in some things. So maybe that's why I'm so hard on him. But I mean, some of these threes where he just like when he just goes straight to the top of the key and just pulls and nails it, and man, he creates these runs that like you're calling timeouts for if you're the other team, and it's been really exciting to see. He's probably the best 3-point shooter on our team, along with Murray. I mean, we could debate that with him and Murray, but I mean, catch and shoot with confidence, and now I know we're kind of bouncing around here, but that Miami fadeaway that he had was sick. And when he gets mid-range fadeaway status, which he could easily do because of his height and his shooting ability, man, look out.
Yeah,
because, I mean, if he could be a third star for us, or who knows with Jamal too, like who's going to step up? Like who's going to be we need another superstar with Jokic. Is it going to be Murray? Is it going to be Porter? So it's exciting to see.
Yeah, you bring up another point with Jamal that I think we'll have to talk about later, and that is whether or not he's actually the number 2 guy, because our boy MPJ is playing like the number 2 guy right now, but he's going against second team, and we got to keep that in mind. But he can shoot over anybody, right? He can shoot over anybody. He's not afraid, and I don't know if that's stupidity or arrogance or a little bit of both. Whatever it is, dude's not scared, which is awesome. And here's the best part about his game that I've seen so far in the last 5 games, and that is he is willing to go to the rack. You know what I mean? We knew he could rebound. We knew he could shoot the 3. He was totally hesitant last year about creating underneath the rim or being aggressive towards the rack. And you are not seeing that fear this year. He is going to the hole. He's finishing and ones. He's doing the right thing there. And you're right, Will, if he can develop that mid-range game, that little fadeaway, it is game over. Because he seems to have developed the other 2 and gotten over the fear of his injury in the paint. So there are good things to come from him, I hope. But he's also that dude at any point in time when he's talking might just say the one thing that ruins his NBA career. So he's teetering on the edge, right? He's teetering on the edge of like, am I going to be this great NBA player or am I going to ruin this whole thing?
Quick question, and then we'll move on. Do you guys think how we've been handling MPJ, which right now I think is actually Malone has actually been good, is gonna make him not want to re-sign with us when his contract is up?
No, I mean,
he's upset, that he's not starting, or do you think he's humble about it? Do you think that's going to affect? Like, I know we have another year. What we have another year, and then he's a free agent. Correct? Am I right on that, guys? Or do we have 2 years?
I think we have 2 more years.
I think we have 2.
Okay.
No, I did. I was texting this in the Bros on Nuggs text thing, but it's not necessarily about starting. It's about minutes and about players being in there. Like Matt Miller said way back in the beginning about who's out there at the end of the games that you need to execute. You know, you think starting is the biggest thing, but when you come out to it, some of our guys on the bench are playing a few more minutes than some of our starters. So at the end of the day, I think, you know, as long as he's getting his time and getting his ability and getting his chance to score, he'll be fine. I think we'll be able to lock him up.
Okay. I was just curious. last night he wasn't playing crunch time, but he's been playing crunch time a lot previously. So I'm just curious.
It's gonna be all over. I think we'll be good.
Cool.
Worms, your thought on that question? It's a good question.
Yeah, it is a great question. I think Malone's done a really good job of managing his ego. And I think that MPJ is starting to figure out his identity and how he plays a crucial role in our success, right? So I think as long as we can still continue pulling out the W's and, like you guys said, if he's playing a critical role in the fourth quarter, I think that's going to resonate quite a bit. So I'm excited about him. I think he's developed significantly, over the last year. And he has the potential to be that next star in our lineup. So it'd be interesting if he did actually take a starting role over, like a Will Barton or something like that. And just to see how that plays out. But Dave, I know that you're really big on him coming out off the bench, and it makes sense, give some of the starters a little bit of a break. So,
yeah. And I would not be opposed to MBJ starting over Barton if you're willing to lose Barton for mentally, emotionally, what he gives to the team. Like if you're willing to lose Barton and just place him on the bench, that's fine, which we might be able to. But I felt Barton and obviously Harris have stepped their games up big time. So I don't think you play with that team chemistry right now. There might be a time where that happens. But yeah, dude, MPJ has proven himself over the course of the last 5, 6, 7 games, and I'm just pumped up about it. Okay, quiz. Well, other than my quarter 3 notes from that game, which were I'm making a pizza and shut up Chris Marlowe, we have a quiz. Scott Hastings in the fourth quarter said this quote. Can you tell me who he's talking about? Here's the quote. See, I told you he's a flopper.
Whew. Chris Paul?
Yeah, Chris Paul. There it is.
CP3.
Scott Hastings going after Chris Paul for being a flopper, which is hilarious. I love it.
Flopper his whole career.
He's been a flopper his whole career.
Well, think back when we used to play New Orleans in the playoffs, and Chris Paul would be just flopping all over the place, getting ticky-tack fouls called.
Yeah, you're right. He's a flopper. I loved the quote. It made me happy when Hastings said that. Guys, before we move on to the Dallas game, which was the best, in my opinion, the best game of this whole road trip. Does Jamal Murray have to either have someone hate him or be injured to play well?
Seems like it.
I mean, I think he's admitted this. He says he likes playing angry.
Little 3-game stretch that you're speaking of.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, we're upping up the quality in this program. I think he likes he has to motivate himself sometimes. He's banged up for sure. I also think that just like that shot that he made in Phoenix, he likes those opportunities and those things. He's kind of dramatic.
So dramatic.
I think we can all agree that that's what fuels him. I mean, he likes to be a tough guy and he is when you read the story about him in Kitchener, Canada, and training with his dad and all that, but it's kind of his persona, I think he's a little mental though.
Yeah, dude. He's so mental. He's
in his head,
He has to have an injury, or there's got to be some dude that has an issue with him. He's just such a head case. And I love it. I do. I love it because it's drama and it's kind of fun to watch. And you're like, what Murray are we going to get? And who's he going to nut tap next? And all those things. I love all of it. But he is a freaking drama queen. Like, he has to be injured. It's his elbow. It's his wrist. No, now it's his shoulder. Like, if you watch the game against San Antonio, he's in a tunnel.
No, it's his glute. It's his butt.
Yeah,
His butt hurt.
you're right. But he's fun. He's fun to watch. So,
Oh, he's amazing, man. He's one of my favorite players.
Tim, do you have thoughts on him being a drama queen?
You guys covered it. I was thinking that last night. Was it last night when he, towards the end, he fouled Patty Mills at the 3-point line and tumbled out of bounds, and then he was real slow to get up, and then they showed a clip of him with a heat pad on his hip warming up in the tunnel.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, you didn't hit the ground that hard, man. I'm like, come on. I mean, I thought Canadians were tough because they grew up playing hockey, and they're outside in the cold, and I don't know. He likes the drama. He likes the storyline. He would definitely be really annoying if he wasn't on your team and you didn't enjoy him.
Yeah, him and Jokic.
Do
you have thoughts on drama queen Jamal?
Yeah, no, I think you guys hit the nail on the head. I think it's interesting that he did so well in the bubble, right? I think a lot of there's a lot of commentary about, he did good in the bubble, but what does it look like, when we get back to normal, like, fan environment, right? But I think, to your guys' point, he does thrive off of some of those storylines, and I think that a lot of the haters that are out there really motivate him to do well. And, it's a little bit of a roller coaster ride early on this season. I think, he's still trying to figure out, like, with us losing 7 players, trying to figure out the new dynamic that we got going on. But yeah, he's fun to watch, man. I mean, he is clutch. He hits those critical shots at the end of the game that really just make it hard to hate him. So
yeah, he is. He's hard to not like. It's I think that's what bothers me most about him. Like, I want a black and white, like, I like you or I don't. And Jamal's like, why are you so dramatic? And yet I still love you. You know what I mean? Okay. Well, we don't have to stay on that forever. I did have a second overtime note. Gary Harris is the best role player in NBA history. That might be, I'm not overreacting, but you're overreacting.
You love yourself some Gary.
Oh, dude. Yes, I do. We don't win that Phoenix game without MPJ, and we have to make that note. Okay. You guys cool with moving on to Dallas?
Let's do it.
That was my favorite game of all of them, mostly because I think Tim and I have the same thought here, and that is we know a lot of people from Dallas who love the Mavs. And so anytime we beat the Mavs, it's just like, it's not just a win, it's a win against all those people who think
win-win
from Texas.
Yeah, they're so annoying. So annoying.
Not talking about you, Jacqueline Turway. But yeah, no, dude, Dallas people they're
obnoxious.
They're not only Texans. They're not just Texans and everything they do is better than everyone else just because they're Texans. They're also Mavericks fans. Like, just imagine that. I
hate losing, but to lose to the Mavs is always just so frustrating because of what Dave was going into.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Quarter 1 was amazing, dude. Do you remember our shooting percentage for that quarter? Does anyone remember how well we shot the ball in that quarter?
We shot it real well,
like 72%.
Yeah, it was like 70%. We were shooting the ball.
Like the Spurs last night.
We'll get to that.
Why you got to talk about last night, man?
It was the same percentage.
Yeah, it was, dude. But we came out and did our job in the first quarter. Yeah.
You know what I really liked about that is when Boban's a nugget killer.
Yeah.
And Jokic is like, you know what? I'm gonna beat him with speed. I'm like, holy shit. Jokic beat a guy with speed. Like, he cut harder, he took him off the dribble faster, And then Boban, then they're like, oh, we're just going to sub Boban out. And then he never really came back into the game and wasn't even part of it. Like, usually Boban has – because they know each other. They're friends. And they went to they went in the Liga at the same time together. And they're obviously both from Serbia. To see, like, Jokic be like, you know what? I'm going to cut and move off of Boban and make Boban look slow, which he is. And – Jokic's just so smart. And so that was cool to see. Like, sometimes Boban is like dominated Jokic, and we always go, what? Oh, man. And I know you agree, Dave, because you think he's a Jokic killer, which he can be in the past.
No.
So that was cool. That was cool to see him like that cut, and then we just went right past Boban.
I have totally changed my mind after that game because Jokic was actually moving. He was like,
he's in shape, baby.
I'm not gonna just try to play a post game against Boban. I'm actually gonna move around and be quicker than he is. And if that's the way Jokic will play against him, then Boban is a non-factor against Jokic. It's true. Do you guys have other thoughts about that? I love the Dallas game. You guys, Worm?
Yeah, what a fun game to watch. The fact that they put up 70 points in the first half was pretty amazing, right? That's definitely like, if we can put up 70 in the first half, that's a really good start, and if we can out-rebound the other team, then we should be all right. But, it was a fun game to watch. I think, obviously, going back to the drama with Murray and, the check of the family jewels, with Tim Hardaway.
Protect the McNuggets.
To put it politely. Something else. I don't know how you guys feel about the flagrant 2 on that. It sounds like there's a lot of back and forth as to if that was justified or not. In my opinion, I feel like it was probably justified. I don't think he meant to do it, but just wrong place at the wrong time type deal. Once Murray was out, I think, again, MPJ stepped up huge. I'm not a huge Luka fan. I know there's a lot of people that are really big on him, and I think that he's overrated, right? Mm-hmm. So it was fun to see that, they were able to overcome the challenge with Murray, getting ejected and, still hanging in there. The quarter 3 has always been tough for him, but they were able to kind of hash it out. And I agree, Dave. It was definitely the best game of the road trip there.
It was again, one of those games that you need to win in the West. And hold on, the Worm. Murray definitely meant
on purpose.
He definitely meant to get Hardaway in the nuts. Like, that's not, I don't think that's debatable. Like, he was like, whoop, take that. Like, I mean, and the only defense I can say for Jamal, and that's an undefensible moment, and he deserved the flagrant 2. But the only defense I could give him is, if you watch the whole game, look how physical the guards were with Murray. Like, they were slowly getting his, like, gears grinding. You know what I mean? Like, they were slowly building up to this moment where he just kind of lost his cool. And that's what happens when you don't ref a tight game with guards and you let people bump. And I prefer a physical game, but at some point, some dude's going to lose his cool. And it was Jamal this time. So there you have it. Tim, thoughts on the Dallas game?
Yeah, like we alluded to, always love beating Dallas, especially in Dallas. I'm not a big Luka fan. He can be fun to watch, but that dude's a crybaby, complains to the officials. He talks the entire game. Just a little pretty boy. He needs to get punched in the face. I'm sorry, you guys were talking about it. I got frustrated listening. I loved the first half was awesome. I had no idea what Barton was doing there in the last 8 seconds of the first quarter or the first half when he just dribbled around and didn't even get a shot off, and he had a chance to. That was kind of frustrating. As we alluded to, third quarters, RRL Guapo, that one was killer. We only scored 10 points, I think, like in the first 8 minutes of that third quarter. So blowing our giant lead, if we could just figure out a way to play in the third quarter, we could give some of our guys breaks. Jokic and Murray especially need those breaks. So when we get a big lead, we got to figure out how to keep that big lead. I loved how our bench played. Our bench came out. I'm wondering if we don't just starting our bench or our second guys a little bit in the second half, because our starters struggle so much with that third quarter. So why not just throw something different at them? Don't bring our starters out right away, or pull the starters out after 2 or 3 minutes instead of a longer stint. That way you're kind of changing things up to get us some mojo going in that third quarter. Overall, great game. Murray, just a bonehead play. Stupid. It was dumb. In real speed, it looked accidental, but as soon as they slowed that down, I was like, oh, man. Right after I talked about how nice Canadians are, you're going to go give a low blow. But, it was just like a horrible third. I thought it was really cool that Malone saw when he saw Dozier run off the court, Malone left the bench and ran over there. You don't see a lot of it. Like, you see, like, if a player's down on the court, a coach go out, but you don't necessarily in the heat of a moment see a coach leave the bench and run over to check on a player, which kind of speaks to volumes of the relationship that I think Malone has with his team, which is key. So I really like seeing that. It's sad to lose Dozier, but hopefully it's going to get some of our other guys some playing time. I mean, RJ got a decent amount of playing time in that fourth quarter against Dallas. So overall, I mean, like we all said, great win. Couple bonehead moves here and there, but we just really got to figure out that third quarter.
We do have to figure out the third quarter. Will, do you have thoughts on that Dallas game?
Yeah, that was below the belt, eh?
Yeah, eh? Don't you know it, though? Hey, why don't you come over the border for some French fries
and gravy? Yeah. Overall, yeah, Dave, you're completely right. Probably the best game of the road trip, and it was exciting to see MPJ make some clutch shots. I really liked that on that when he was kind of curling and went to that 45 and nailed that three after there was another big shot by Dallas. And just able to respond after each big bucket by Dallas. And to talk about the nut shot, I agree it was bad. I think as he was coming up, he tried to stop. That's how I look at it. He was like, "Oh shit! Oh yeah, I just hit him in the nuts." Okay. I think he knew what he was doing, and then he was like, "Oh man, I better not." I was like, "If you're gonna hit a guy in the nuts, hit him in the nuts, man." It wasn't he didn't really go full ham bone on Tim Hardaway's. But okay. Last comment about the Jamal Murray nut shot is Chris Dempsey and Katie Wingy were thinking that it shouldn't have been a flagrant 2 and that he was justified. And then you talk to the NBA players like Henslick and Scott, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he totally meant to do it. He totally nailed him." So interesting take by the people who cover the Nuggets. I thought that was interesting that they were a little split on that. But overall in the game, again, gosh, man, Luka just I was really frustrated at first because he was just getting to the free throw line and we weren't getting free throws. And same thing with the Spurs game. God, dude, we need to get to the free throw line more.
Yeah.
And it's just so frustrating when you see foul after foul on some of these stars getting to the free throw line and we're not doing the same. And God.
Well, Will, to your point, the Dallas first quarter, our first free throw attempt was 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter, and Dallas had already attempted 12.
We don't win that game without Jermichael Green and MPJ.
That was the note I was about to just throw out there is without MPJ, we don't win that game either. So you're talking about a Phoenix Suns game on a back-to-back that is a huge game in the West, and then a big Western Conference matchup with Dallas. If there is no MPJ, we lose both those games. So now we really have to start thinking about the importance of this dude to our team. And I think Worm was onto this earlier, he needs to start thinking about his importance to this team, because once he realizes that, then maybe the sky is the limit for that dude. Just maybe. Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm not overreacting. You're overreacting. Let's do a segment. I'm not overreacting. You're overreacting. Okay. Jeremy, you're familiar, I think. This is where we are not going to overreact about anything that's going on with the Nuggets season at all.
Or overreact.
Yeah, I'm not overreacting. You're overreacting. The fact that we lost in San Antonio, I don't think there should be much concern there. The fact that we walked away from we walked away with 4 wins out of that road trip is huge. You guys were talking about it last week, and you mentioned if we can get 3 wins out of that road trip, we'll be in a good spot. So I see a lot of Nuggets fans kind of hitting the panic button. We lost in San Antonio. What are we going to do? But I think we'll be good.
I'm
Josh
not
making a guest appearance, guys.
Hi.
Hi, Dot.
Hey, Tim, with your baby, I'm not overreacting. You're overreacting.
I'm not overreacting. You're overreacting.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she's all over the place. Sorry, Sophie's getting the stroller out. The loss to the Spurs is not as big of a deal as we're making it out to be.
Yep.
It was an unfortunate loss. We could have won. Our guys were spent by the end of the fourth quarter. Those last 5 minutes, our guys did not look like they wanted to be playing. They didn't want to be out there. I hate losing to the Spurs. They were our El Guapo for the longest time. But now it's the third quarter. But I'm not overreacting. You're overreacting. Dorothy doesn't like the Spurs either. So
Yeah, Dorothy. Weird girl.
Dude, I'm not overreacting. You're overreacting.
I'm not overreacting. You're overreacting. The success of the Nuggets this season hinges on the success and production of Gary Harris.
Yeah.
If we are so much better and he's starting to get there, and we saw that, and we've been seeing that since really the Sixers game in Philadelphia, where he's starting to be more consistent. I think there was some stat where the first 6 games, he was 20% from 3-point line, and now he's back up to, since then, he's like 40, like almost 40%. So from the corner, and from the corner, besides that, he's also creating shots for others. He had 7 assists and like 5 steals the Miami game. So we can be an elite team because we all know what Gary provides on the defensive end. He's so smart. He's a great perimeter defender, probably one of the best in the NBA. Dave would probably say the best because Dave loves himself some Gary. But when he is knocking down threes, which he has been doing, and just creating more offense for others off of that corner, it's a good thing. So when Gary Harris is a viable scoring option for the Denver Nuggets, it provides so many more options for Jokic, for Murray, for anybody that is playing with him. We are successful if Gary Harris is a consistent, role player that can help us win. So we hinge on Gary Harris if we're going to be an elite team.
Hey, the dude. Do you like the fucking Eagles, man?
I love fucking Eagles, man. I hate them.
That's right. All right, good. Just checking on your persona real quick.
I hate the fucking Eagles, man.
Yeah. You know how much I love Gary Harris, and I couldn't agree with you more. My I'm not overreacting, you're overreacting is the same as Worms and the same as Tim's. You got a lot of backlash today if you're following Nuggets media on their loss last night, which makes no sense to me. And I particularly want to call out the Denver Stiffs, whoever runs that stuff. Like,
Reactionary.
why are you hating on them right now? They just went on this incredible run. If you look at their last 15 games, like they're just crushing stuff. It's the end. It's the end of a road trip, whether there are fans or not. It's a road trip, dude. You have
5-game road trip. You have like 2 of those a year.
Yeah, you have to go. It's a 5-game road trip. You have to go across multiple, like you go from Arizona. Who knows what time zone Arizona's in right now? Anyone tell me?
They don't follow time zones.
Yeah,
Arizona.
Arizona doesn't follow time zone. So, but you go from that, and then you go all the way out east, and then you come back. Like, why are people hating so much on that loss? And it was a tough loss. I get it.
The Spurs just beat the Celtics.
No, the
They
Spurs
just beat the Celtics.
I think people are upset because we should have won the game.
We should have. We should have.
But like, if you watch it, I literally was sitting there thinking at about 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I was like, our guys are gassed.
Yeah.
We were tired.
Yeah.
That turnover central.
Yeah. I mean, we hit a point where we were exhausted. It's unfortunate, but
Dude,
I mean, it's gonna happen.
I'm
That's what
exhausted. I'm exhausted from flying from Colorado Springs to DFW.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that exhausts me. These dudes are doing it across 3 time zones, well, whatever Arizona is. No one knows right now. But they're going across 3 time zones, working their way back, and they dominate every game except the Spurs game, which is the end of the road trip. How on earth are you hating on these dudes right now? So Denver Stiffs, get out of here. And whoever else is talking crap about that loss last night, yes, we should have won. We had the opportunity. I get it. But, dude, think about the entire season and where we are right now. You guys are lost. Whoever's hating on that.
We're in the culture of hot takes and reactionary media, Dave. So that's all I'll go with that one. It's just like your clickbait and trying to, like, you know, if you look at the social media posts on a Denver win versus a Denver loss, everybody just it's so reactionary. They don't look at the big scope of his whole season. You know, yes, it's a short season, 72 games, but man, it's like every loss, it's a bash on Barton, Harris, Malone, and it's just ridiculous, guys. Like, just be an intelligent fan if you're going to comment. I know we don't get that luxury. People are just going to talk, but if I'm an NBA player, I am not on social media. I just want it. No way.
Well, if I'm a Nuggets player, I'm definitely on Bros on Nuggs. I definitely hop on that bandwagon.
Well, you know, I'm sure certain players love us and hate us.
Gary Harris loves us.
At PGA? I don't know. We've been giving him some love lately.
All right. Okay. So we still have 2 more games to go through.
We'll run through them because maybe the San Antonio game will be a little bit longer, but whatever.
Yeah, okay. Well, the Heat game, my friends, was an ass kicking. Though, why do we allow them back into the game? Was it in the 3rd quarter again?
Wouldn't you know?
Oh, man. What'd they get it down to? Was it 9?
We got down to 9.
9.
Okay, so does anyone have a reason why they got it down to 9? Worm, what was going on in that Miami game? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it?
Yeah, you know, it seemed like we were kind of getting lackadaisical at one point where we were up by, I believe, 14. And, you know, the fact that Jimmy Butler was out, you know, that was the whole story for that game. Oh, you know, Butler's out, so if the Nuggets win, it's no credit to their talent. There was a period in which you were kind of like, you could see the momentum swinging back to the Heat, and luckily we were able to kind of get things figured out. Again, MPJ just stepping up. JaMychal Green had a great game as well. Murray didn't do that great, if I remember correctly, during that game, but Yeah, I think again the media kind of pointed to a lot of the Heat are out due to injuries and COVID and this and that, but I think any win on the road is definitely worth respect, right? And so I was happy with the outcome.
Eastern Conference champions, man. We seem to pretty much dominate them. Obviously, Jimmy Butler would make a difference. Tyler Hero, I think, was out as well. But can we be real for a second? The Nuggets are very well aware if you can handle the COVID situation, you're going to get wins like that. I mean, Jokic has said as much. He was like, dude, if we can handle this COVID thing and be smart about it, we're going to pick up easy W's against good teams because they can't handle it the way we can. And that is the Heat game is a great example of that, I think. Tim, thoughts on the Heat game?
Yeah, first off, Dave, I'm going back through and I'm apologizing for my notes. They don't really make a lot of sense.
I'm trying to scroll through them right now, and I'm like, okay.
That was like day 2 or something. I'd had several Percocet.
I got him, Tim. I'll read you.
No, it's good. I think it's comical going back through and rereading these and seeing what my thought process was. No, but I mean, it was a hell of a first half, as you can see by my notes, those of you who have access to them. I did make note that Jokic in the second quarter started getting some calls in the paint. And this just goes for any game for the Nuggets. But when we get points in the paint, when we get a lot of points in the paint, it benefits us because we're streaky from the outside. So I think we had 40 points in the paint at halftime, which is great for us. We started out, luckily they weren't shooting well because we weren't really shooting well in the beginning in that first half. But I mean, like everybody's been saying, it's a good game. RJ got some early minutes in that first half, which was nice to see. Gary Harris had 5 assists at halftime. So he was, 2 away from his career high. He was going out there and doing some things a little bit differently than he normally does. And yeah, I mean, that's that I kind of alluded to it in the Dallas game, but that third quarter is when I really started thinking maybe we should be playing our backups a little bit more, kind of changing things a little bit, change things up. I mean, we gave up 32 points in that third quarter, and at halftime they had scored 35 points. So they pretty much doubled their score in one quarter of terrible basketball. Obviously, like Jeremy said, any road on the win's a great win. I thought it was a good fought, hard team win. This is one of the best road wins we've had. I mean, road starts we've had in Nuggets' career, which is awesome. We have 6 players in double digits. So you have multiple people scoring. Really, in that fourth quarter, we started cutting real well again. That third quarter was just horrible, horrendous. But yeah, I mean, overall, a great game. Regardless if they were down a few players or not, it's always good to go out and beat the top teams on the East Coast. And really, we were doing it rather handily there for a while. So even with their big studs back, I think we still had a decent lead on them at halftime. But a good win. Good win, good game. Sorry about my notes, Dave.
No, don't worry about your notes. I actually am starting to figure it out. Will, thoughts on the Heat game?
It was the best first half they played all season. It was beautiful to watch. They played great. Like you said, like Gary Harris dropping dimes all over the place. And what I alluded to about overreacting, you're overreacting when he can do so much out of the corner 3 position and not just knock down threes, but create plays for others. It's going to be a great thing. Again, seeing Jermichael Green and MPJ, not as much MPJ in that game. He's a little cold, but like making those threes and huge 3 in the third quarter by Millsap when we were just reeling. We needed that.
Is that the one
that kind of really just stopped everything and got us regaining our momentum? So great. Hey, you'll take we don't win in Miami.
No.
So yeah, we'll take it, COVID or not. And again, we got a bugaboo that is the third quarter. That's a big theme of not just the road trip, but of our season. or third quarters. So you won, you should have won, and moving on. So happy that they did it. And I will say this, and Tim talked about points in the paint, and it's not just it hasn't just been the Heat game or the Spurs game, but second chance points and steals.
Mm-hmm.
We've been starting to figure it out defensively a little bit better, and we've been creating steals and easy points, and that's why you're seeing our net rating go up on defense. And overall, we're actually one of the best rebounding teams in the NBA. So that's why you're seeing us so good at second chance points, and with Jokic's tips and everybody else's, like Murray committing to boards, we're actually a pretty darn good defensive rebounding team lately, and that's where we're seeing this change from where we were really worried at the start of the season because we weren't rebounding worth a lick or defending very hard. So it's been really really exciting to see second chance points because that's effort. Steals, that's effort. Effort's going up. Wins going up.
Yeah, effort and wins, Will. Effort and wins. Obviously, you're not a golfer, dude. It's a Big Lebowski joke, Will.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Market 8.
Over the line. Over the line.
Over the line. Market 8.
Can I talk 1 second? This might be a Grafundamental, maybe. Can you guys do Grafundamentals right now?
We can hit that.
Okay, cool. I love Campazzo, but this is a Grafundamental that bothers me about Campazzo. And maybe it's just because he's short, he can play defense this way. But have you guys ever noticed that his arms aren't out, right? Like ready to swipe to get the ball or deflect a pass. His arms are in, like he's ready to attack like a timid tiger. I don't know what it is. Like his arms are in like that. I don't get it. So Campazzo, I'm sure you've obviously earned the right to play defense that way, but Grafundamentals says get your hands out, one arm to deflect the pass, the other to swipe on the crossover. That's my Grafundamental. Worm, do you have a Grafundamental?
I do, Dave. I do have a Grafundamental. I would say don't hit people in the nuts. I mean, it's as easy as that. You get fined 25 large for doing
shot.
That. And a big lesson for Murray, and I'm sure $25,000 is not a big thing for him, but could you imagine getting fined that much money? It's just unbelievable. So he's got to be smarter. Being a leader of this team, he can't pull stuff like that, and hopefully, he doesn't do that again in the future.
Quick question, Worm. Where do you think that 25 grand goes? Like, does the NBA just like bank that, or do you think they give it to somebody?
Yeah, this could go back to the whole conspiracy theory, that you guys were talking about. But, I would hope that it goes to maybe like fundraising, helping out, children in need or something to that effect. I would hope that they use that money in a positive manner.
It goes to Lever. Yeah, it goes to
Canadian Protection Foundation.
Yeah, it goes to the school who can't read well. Crap, I'm gonna butcher that. All right, Tim.
Two things. Grafundamental, bounce pass into the post. We had this goes all the way back to the Suns game, but we had several turnovers, even in overtime, where we were not bounce passing into the post, which could have been easily. If you bounce pass into the post, you're not turning the ball over. And the other thing is Campazzo was just voted to the all-decade team in Europe. So hopefully he can figure out how to play in the NBA. And, guys like Luka say he's going to be great. So hopefully it's going to pan out for us.
He's on the all-decade European team?
Yeah, from the Europa League or whatever it is.
Europa.
Oh, the Europa League, huh?
Or is that soccer?
Hey, okay, I'll get to this in a second because I have to remember just a couple things. Will, do you have a fundamental?
Yeah, MPJ, when you get a big rebound, don't bring it down below so you can get it stolen from you right away. Happened several times in the last couple games. Big rebounds, great rebound. And then he brought it down below and got it stolen. You got to white boy chin that shit.
Yeah, you do.
Pivot. Use those elbows.
Yeah, use your pivot, not the elbows. Use your pivot. Use your pivot. The elbows are out. As long as you're pivoting, you have space.
Hey, Mike Kinner. This is a perfect Mike Kinner moment. You know, like he tell you, hey man, you got to rebound that ball and pull it in there.
Just want you to know, I've tried to get Mike Kinner on as a guest, but he apparently is too busy, running a new company across the entire globe. So we'll work on that later.
That's like the fundamental. Got to chin that basketball after you rebounded, baby.
Oh, you have to, and you have to use that pivot foot to clear people out, man. Mm-hmm. Tim, Europa League, yeah, ding dong. Just saying.
Yeah, ding dong.
Yes. Ding dong.
Ding dong.
That is hilarious. If you haven't seen it, you got to see it. It's the Will Ferrell movie. I forget what it's called.
Eurovision.
Jaja ding dong.
Yeah, ding dong.
Hilarious.
Okay, guys. Last night, I'm trying not to be mad about it, because it's the last game of a 5-game road trip and you won every game before it. And as I said at the beginning of this show, if I had to choose between winning last night and beating the Jazz at home, I'm taking that Jazz game all day. I'm taking it every time, 100% of the time. They better show up and freaking win that, by the way. But that's where I am right now with the game last night. So just we're winding down here as we're an hour and 12 minutes into the show. We're winding down, but what did you guys think about last night? Worm?
Yeah, I think DeRozan really just played lights out the whole game. He put up 30 points, 10 assists. So it was tough to overcome, the fire that he brought. DeJounte Murray also put up 26 points. I think, we ran out of gas in the mid to late third quarter. We held tight there for a while, which was good to see. But you could tell, once we moved into the later parts of the game, we just kind of lost our mojo there. So, totally understandable coming off 5 games on the road, traveling, everything that they got going on. Move on to the next one. Like you said, Dave, I'm looking forward to this Utah Jazz game. They're pretty hot right now. They just made the Mavs look pretty silly last night. So I think they're on an 11 game winning streak, if I remember that correctly. So yeah, it'd be nice to stop the bleeding with the Jazz. I think they're going to be a tough contender. And hopefully we can pull out the W tomorrow.
Yeah, the Jazz game seems super important to me tomorrow for a lot of reasons. Jeremy, would you trade Gary Harris and some draft picks, or Will Barton and some draft picks to get DeMar DeRozan?
I don't think I would. I don't think DeRozan would mesh very well with the rest of the squad. To be honest with you, I feel like he's really trying to step up as kind of that star player for the Spurs, and I think he has too much of an ego. So yeah, I don't think I would. He's definitely an amazing player, don't get me wrong, but I just don't see the chemistry that he would bring to the Nuggs.
Okay, fair. Tim, thoughts on the Spurs game?
Another team I don't like losing to. I think I don't like to lose, period. But it goes all the way back to when they were our El Guapo and would whip us in the playoffs every year. It would have been nice to see a victory there. Having gone and seen a game there and to hear their fans say Pop doesn't put up with floppers is always comical and rings in my ears.
Yeah.
Dave and I had to laugh at the guy who said that.
Man.
True quote. But I mean, I just thought we played tired the entire game. But the fact we played them that well until late when we were that tired kind of speaks volumes to about our grit and how we want to play and who we want to be. We were exhausted. Those last 6 minutes. We were 1-2 points, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, we're down by 14. The end of the game doesn't justify. Doesn't really show how we actually played that entire game. The final score wasn't truly the way the game went. I think the media, the people on social media are really overreacting. It would have been a hell of a win to pull it off. I'm disappointed we didn't. But it was good to see our guys play with some heart and some grit and try to battle there. But I agree, once we realized it was over, we should have pulled our starters out and gotten them even that extra 2-3 minutes here and there is going to go long for those guys getting 40 plus minutes a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Will, Spurs game.
Yeah, I think their bench clearly outplayed ours, which we haven't seen that in the whole road trip. So, that has something to do with fatigue. And I think the Dozier injury, to be honest with you, if we could put Dozier on a guy like Patty Mills, I don't think Patty Mills shoots like that in that game. So a couple of the other things too to say, man, Spurs, you know what you're doing. They're one of the teams that knows how to double Jokic.
That is crazy, dude.
How they do it and when they do it and how aggressively they do it. They created like 4 or 5 turnovers, how they doubled Jokic. A lot of other teams don't do that, and usually he figures it out. They had it coming from everywhere. He didn't know where the double was coming from, and it created turnovers, particularly late. And you're tired. Those big fourth corner turnovers. It wasn't just Jokic, it was Murray. Man, I was so mad about that really weak turnover by Murray when he was trying to dribble through his legs when he went up against DeJounte Murray late when we were down by like 7, when we need a good bucket. That pissed me off. But they're tired. They were ready to go home, and I think they kind of gave up, to be honest with you, the last like 5 minutes of that game. I think we play better with Dozier. I really do. And, man, the Spurs were just shooting lights out. They were nailing it, and it's just one of those games where, hey, everybody should. There's one positive that I was really happy about in this game, despite the loss, and it was something that Jokic hasn't been doing lately, but he did last night, was shoot the 3-ball well.
Yes.
So seeing him knock down, what did he make, like 5 or 6 threes last night, guys?
Yeah.
And he hasn't been shooting it aggressively like that. And he can get whatever he wants. It's not like there's a huge defensive presence in San Antonio with Jakob Poeltl or LaMarcus Aldridge. And it's also interesting is the Spurs know how to defend us where they go, we want to make Jokic a scorer. Let's make Jokic a scorer, not let him pass, and we're going to beat them. So Popovich has some good plans for us. He knows how to play us. He uses it since that playoff series. But I'm not losing my brain over this loss. They're tired. 5-game road trip. Let's see. This next game against Utah is huge. They need to beat Utah because the next 2 games are going to be in Utah. So we're all right. 4 out of 5 on a 5-game road trip, pretty damn good.
Yeah, you take it. You certainly do. I felt like you made very good points about the double team on Jokic. No doubt about that. That Popovich knows how to handle him, but not from the 3 line. You know what I mean? Like they're willing to secede the 3 to our boy Jokic, which is
this is going to be a good thing moving forward for us, though.
Maybe if Jokic is in that right mindset, and it did. Obviously, you guys talked about it, but him hitting the 3 last night is good, not just for him, but for the Nuggets, like to get back on track there. Disappointed in the bench play, but when you lose Dozier, who had become a big part of the bench, that's gonna hurt, man. And hammies they're not easy recoveries. Just saying, man. Like, I don't expect PJ Dozier back in the next week. Like, he's out for a month, man. At least. So that sucks. But I think we can overcome it. Not that worried about it. But you need RJ Hampton and Campazzo to really step up. It was fun to watch our RJ Hampton get some run. Mm-hmm. You can tell the dude has a lot of energy, which is fun. You can tell the dude cares about winning and playing hard. Like, he's not that first round draft pick rookie who's going to come in and be like, this is my ball, I deserve. Like, he is a team player, which is really cool. And what would you expect from the Nuggets? Anything less than to draft a guy who's going to fit into your culture. And RJ seems to be doing that. And we're going to need him for the next few games. Yeah, in a minute, man. So yeah. Can we get Tim, before our closing thoughts, can we get a timeout with Tim?
Yes. Two things this week that really got me going. I'm really tired of these lean-in, ticky-tack crap fouls. I brought it up when, Steph Curry kicked backwards and Jamal Murray got the foul. But, there's no player control on the offensive end of the basketball anymore. So the offensive guy can be out of control and lean in, and it's not a natural movement, and it's still a defensive foul. I think that's crap. I think the NBA has gone too far. They wanted more points, and they wanted the NBA to be more about about offense and less about defense, and I kind of think they've taken it too far. These lean-in, ticky-tack crap fouls are getting really, really annoying. My second thing, and it's happened twice to the Nuggets, is when they review a play at the end of the game to see if the ball goes out on somebody and Jokic is getting molested both times, and they can't call the foul. They can only give the ball to the other team because it's off on them. I think they need to relook at how they should, in those last 2 minutes, if there's a review, you should be able to be like, okay, there was a defensive foul. You should be able to review everything, not just who it's off of. It happened in the Dallas game. Luckily, it didn't hurt us. It happened to us previously this season, and we ended up losing that game by one possession, which was the possession that they got off that call. So I rip the NBA officials a lot, but we got to figure something about these ticky-tack, lean-in fouls. It takes away from the game, takes away from the flow, and they've got to figure out how to really review in the final 2 minutes in the NBA because it's kind of trash.
Yeah, I was watching a college game last week. I think it was Texas OU, and the color guy was like, "Yeah, is that when they lean in like that? Is that a natural shooting motion?"
It's not.
Yeah, but this is basketball now, So, but yeah,
it's unfortunate when you have a good game going with good flow, and then people just start leaning in and drawing fouls. But the thing is they don't call it consistently. So if you're going to call it, call it. If you're not going to call it, don't call it. Don't give it to some people and not to others.
Hey, the dude. Any last thoughts on the Nuggets this week?
Super proud of them. We needed it. I'm not going to, freak out about the Spurs loss. They were tired. Could they have won that game? Absolutely. And, I would like to see them play better at home. We have a better road record than we do a home record right now. I know we don't have Nuggets Nation supporting them right now at home, but we're starting to figure it out. And our bench is one of the best benches in the league, which we thought they would be. So I think we can see great things coming forward. They got a lot of good teams that they're going to play in the next 2 weeks. So let's keep it rolling. Let's keep winning and go where we think they can go.
Which is where, Will?
Western Conference Finals.
Oh, okay. Not like some magical dreamland that you were envisioning.
With Saddam Hussein, maybe.
Okay. Worm, any last thoughts on the Nuggets this week?
To Will's point, I'm super proud of what they accomplished over the last week, and looking forward to some home games. Huge game against the Jazz. Hopefully, we come out with the W. Looking forward to the Detroit game as well. Obviously, Jeremy Grant. Hopefully, we can stick it to him for leaving, and excited about that matchup. I think we'll play well against the Pistons. I think we play the Lakers after that, and that's going to be a tough game, obviously. But yeah, at this point in the season, I think we've positioned ourselves very well. The schedule is pretty unrelenting or relentless. So hopefully, we can keep some of this momentum that we've had and just, keep that going. So yeah, I'm super pumped. I think we're in a good place. Let's just keep our eyes on the prize.
Yeah, dude, the schedule will always be relentless when you play in the Western Conference, man. It's just kind of the name of the game, and that's what we have to roll with, which is why we are super proud to be Nuggets fans. Like, think about it, man. We're a small market team. Small market, get out of here. We're a small market team that have sustained ourselves as one of the best teams in the Western Conference over the last 2 decades. And it's freaking amazing. We just need to take that extra step, which is why we're so pumped up about this season. Like, the time seems to be now-ish, right? I'm not worried about the Pistons, but I am worried about Grant going off for 30, which may happen, but they won't beat us, dude. That's not gonna happen. Pretty sure we take care of business now there. Yeah, man. Good things going forward. Thank you all for joining us. Jeremy, where were you going to go shred today?
I was going to go up to Copper. I'm a big Copper fan. Off the I-70 corridor, that's my favorite mountain. It doesn't have that Vail kind of, ritzy feel. It's more family oriented. And so we'll get out there again for sure. I am really appreciative of the invite. Obviously, guys, big fan of the show, and hopefully I can come back in the future. I know you're looking at potentially an all-star lineup later on this season, so keep me in mind and keep in the good fight here, fellas. This has been a positive light during this crazy COVID environment that we're all kind of navigating right now. So appreciate the positive distraction.
Oh, Heiberger, you're amazing, man. And I'm gonna get up to the mountains some point soon. But my mountain's Monarch. I love Copper though, homie. Copper, you're right, in the I-25 corridor, Summit County, I should say, corridor. Copper is my favorite mountain. It's been years since I've been there, but it's my favorite of all those, no doubt, beyond any doubt. Monarch will always be my home.
Monarch's awesome. I actually learned at Monarch Mountain, and I remember field trips out there, man. Just
exactly
so much fun. So
yeah,
it's a good hill.
Yeah, you remember hitting little kickers as 7th graders off of dude, Monarch's so much fun.
Yeah.
I miss you, Jeremy. We'll get together, dude, when this is all done. And for our All-Star edition, I don't think they're having an All-Star game this year, right?
They haven't decided yet.
They're debating it.
Okay. Well, whatever weekend would be the All-Star game, we will have an All-Star edition, and Worm, you're a part of that, no doubt.
For sure.
Yeah. Any last thoughts? The dude or Tim?
I got to pee.
I love you guys. Thank you for joining us today on Bros on Nuggs. Another amazing episode with our homeboy, the Worm, the big Worm, Jeremy Heiberger. Tim, Will, next week, maybe we can all be in studio together. Yeah.
I hope so.
I hope so too. All right. I love you guys. Hey, everyone, have an amazing rest of your weekend.
You too.
Hey, fellas, take care.
You guys, bye.
Peace out.